If I don't have the piece of paper in front of me, I lose track of what we're doing. Sorry, everybody, we're waiting for one member to come back. Who's here? Your ringers. It's so light out. Well, things get really serious. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, even though she is not.
We'll just say she's here. Yeah. She's here.
Oh, she's walking. There she is. Psych. I have said that. Oh, all right. So I would like to call to order the School District 2 Board of Education meeting for April 21st, 2016. Madam Secretary.
Ms. Gonzalez, Ms. Lee, here. Mrs. Longmire,
Here.
Mr. Siebert,
Here.
Mrs. Torres,
Here.
Ms. Thompson,
Ms. Thompson is excused. as
Ms.
is
Wright.
Ms. Wright.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have 5 present. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening. We've got a full house, as you can see. Members of the public who might be here who desire to address the board on any
Microphone.
on any topic related to board work must sign the roster in the back of the room before 6:30 p.m. And so I will start with our first item, which is the Pledge of Allegiance and mission statement. We have students from Stratmore Hills Elementary School here. I think they're sitting in the front row. They look very spiffy this evening. So we have Christopher Evans Talbot, Tavion Lawrence, and Raven Turner, who will be doing our Pledge of Allegiance for us. So come on up.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, guys. Thank you. So then we'll move on to the mission statement, and we have for that we have Jonathan Bales, I believe, and Sophia Prialkina. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced it. And also we have Hayden Jumper. So come on up and read our mission statement for us.
Graduate college and career-ready students with the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors to personally succeed and contribute to the common good.
Great. Good job, you all. So, Christine's here, so she can take pictures. Great. Yay! Great. Thank you, students. That was an excellent job, and thank you, parents, for coming to be with your students this evening. We really appreciate it. It helps us put it into perspective why we do what we do here. So we'll move on to item number 2. Have you all had an opportunity to review tonight's agenda?
Yes.
Do we have any changes to tonight's agenda?
Yeah, we'd like to remove item 7.2. Our
Pardon
May
me.
meeting.
Pardon me. So that is our updates from Harrison Sierra High School. Unfortunately, our 2 board interns are not available tonight, so they won't be able to. Moved by Mr. Siebert to postpone item 7.2 to the next meeting. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Ms. Torres. Any discussion? No. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carries. So we will postpone item 7.2 to the next meeting, next regular meeting. Any other changes?
Just one spelling on the word third
Where?
in the beginning where we're talking about the writing. The word third is spelled with E instead of E.
Which item is that under? Do you know? Third. Is it on the agenda or is it in some of the materials?
It is. Agenda. Hold on.
Hold on, we're getting there. I don't see that word
Okay.
in.
Okay, it is in some of the material. We'll get to that later.
Okay, so it's in some of the material associated with an item. So we can deal with that when we get there. But so no other changes to the actual agenda for this evening? So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the amended agenda.
Moved by Mr. Siebert. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Longmire. All in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we've adopted the agenda. So then we move on to the best part of the evening, showcasing our schools. Tonight we have Principal Pam Robinson from Stratmore Hills Elementary School here and some of her team. You can come on up and introduce. Thank you for being here. Very excited to hear about our Stingers.
We were having that before, but see.
We're going to present just a
How did it
very
change again?
practical snapshot of our school and to just capture some of the hard work that our teachers and our students are doing over at Stratmore Hills. And we hope that at the end, our goal is that you see that we are a great contributor to the fine work that we're doing here in Harrison School District. So we're going to begin with some background, just some demographic information. I really want you to pay close attention to this smaller chart here. But what that chart represents is pretty major. We're going to go back to that to present just the rationale on our next step. For example, what we have in that chart, we this year have about 250 students, give or take. But what's important, and we want you to see that a 3-year trend from school year 13-14, 14-15, 15-16, in all, thinking about the overall enrollment, we have, in a given year, over half of our kids are coming in brand new. 17 in, 17 out, and 13, 14, 15 in, that's third grade, 21 out in 14, 15, 11 in, 16 out, and 15, 16. And mind you, this is only a school with 2 grade levels per grade, 2 classrooms per grade level, and we're experiencing over half of our kids in and out. For example, school-wide, 122 new kids school year 13-14, but we lost 110. In 14-15, we had 115 coming in new, 84 left. In 15-16, we had, which is current, 112 new students, and we've lost approximately 113. And what we want to capture is that has nothing to do with our schools, our year-round. The applicants are very receptive and very supportive of year-round. We only lost 17 kids, which is less families. That was just 17 kids, because some of those families were multi-siblings in there. So we just want to present to you that year-round is currently a great thing there, and our enrollment is actually our demographics, our housing. It's where our kids come from is not from a majority, not all, but it's our housing. You know, and you can go and you can find better housing in some of our other areas, and we know that because we're very intentional on asking why or where are you going. And then some do leave and we run aware. We make it a point to have our register let us know what school is asking for those records. Then, looking at our other demographics, we do have 3 levels, like I said. We have CPCD. It's just wonderful to see those little preschoolers, and we hope to sustain them in Harrison, because boys, especially in that full day class, they're getting some kindergarten readiness in there. 87% free reduced, 12% ELD, 13% special ed, and we do have a SSN program and a TAP program. And then 39% are Hispanic, 16% Black, and 35% white, 2% other. And we want a wonderful representation of our students. That is our beautiful rainbow of demographics that we're in front of you today. We have with looking at the number of kids, for this year we will be celebrating 5 singers who have been with us since kindergarten out of a class of 67. So we have kept 5 of those kids, which we're really happy about, but we have very few who make it to stay with us. So. Okay, and here is just our mission and value promise statement, and our UIP, which is a working document in our school. And although we have all courses subjects identified on the UIP, math has been our big focus, and we're really trying to implement a lot of that. Shelley can share our general schools. So looking at DIBELS, this is the national comparison of growth. Looking at benchmark, beginning, middle, and end, and then our intensive kids. So in kindergarten through 3rd, for last year, we had 62% coming in benchmark at the beginning of the year. The end of the year, it was 78%. And if you look at that growth in a cohort of kids, these kids are placed in, our growth is well above average nationally. This year, we entered with 64% benchmark at the beginning of the year. Middle of the year, we were at 77%, which you can see is right at where we were at the end of last year. So hopefully, the end of this year, we will make greater gains, which we do. Look at that with our interim sessions as well as our extended learning opportunities. We feel that that's pushing the kids too. I'll kind of let you look at the other grade levels, 4th and 5th. You can see with benchmark. Last year, we were below average compared with the growth from beginning to end. But again, you can see middle of the year this year, we're already past where we were at the end of last year. Looking over at intensive, again, we're cutting our numbers. This year, we have cut our intensive numbers from the beginning of the year to mid-year, or middle of the year, in half. K3 going from 24% intensive down to 12 middle of the year. Hopefully we'll continue, which again, the growth of that is well above average. Our concern, we do have us well below average with our 5th grade students this year. They're just kind of staying right there. We've identified those kids. We put things in place, and hopefully we will see a change for that at the end of the year. But this is our CBN data, 3 through 5, 3-year trend. Definitely, we have some areas to work on. We've identified. Last year, we see
growth in math and for this present school year, where we really have been focusing on math, and we could tell we incorporated Engage New York at the beginning of the year. We could tell, we knew that we identified our areas of concern, we implemented that, and we truly believe we could see a huge difference in our kids' writing with a constructive response in math, and we were pleased with those scores. We still are working on reading and writing. We have put some things in place, looking at just providing richer text, making some curriculum shifts. In writing, we're developing better frameworks. We're incorporating a new writing strategy or writing program next year, so we hope to see some increase in our scores for that.
Okay, this is a report that's presented by, this report is on the CDE website, and what it is called the TCAP to CMAS part comparison. And what this report is doing is based on the percent rate, the scale score. They use the scale score from TCAP in 13, TCAP in 14, and CMAS. And what you really want to look at, and all of our schools are identified on this website, and you want to look at the percentile ranking, and it gives you a very practical and detailed analysis of how to analyze. But the blue is where you really want to focus your attention. And up at the top, you have levels 1 through 4, these dark orange all the way to the green. And to be green, you need a 750 plus. And so you see, with our main scores for the part, we're all in the 730s. And so our goal is to reach that 750 mark. But if you look, for example, at all students in that blue, and I know it's pretty small, but what we're pleased with, even though they do not use this for the school performance framework, but we're increasing. For example, in 2013, all students, we were only at, as far as percentile ranking, ranked at 23. Then we moved on in 2014 to 28, and then for CMAS for part, 51, which is showing that we are growing kids. We're getting there, but we do know that we have work to do. So we're not relaxing with this, but we're using this as a tool to say, yes, what we're doing is working. We now need to tweak and up the ante on what we're doing. And that would be in the areas of both reading, writing, and math. And so we have some specifics that we're gonna work on as well as continuing to implement the district initiative.
And just at the top, the experimental part score is just showing you the difference between experimental scores and state and difference. So state district. So we just wanted to, we didn't put actual because we know we don't have anything to compare it to. But what we wanted to do, how far away are we at meeting the district average, and most importantly, the city average. So, for example, third grade PLA, we were a negative 14.7% away from meeting district and 15 away from meeting the state. And we have drilled that down to items. I mean, we know that that's about 53 kids give or take as far as small numbers that we need. And so we don't think we're leaving kids behind, but we know that a few more kids will move us up, and this time we target those kids. All kids, especially those who are right at that cut, because we know that that's where we are. So even in math, 6th grade, we did fairly well. We were just 4.2% of district, but mine was 3% for the state. So again, we don't have comparison there, but we know at least where we are and what we do.
Just speaking for the last 5 minutes.
And again, you can't compare the two tests. The scales are different on the two tests, but CDE came up with this report, and it compares over time, and it makes it possible to view relative achievement on both two tests versus part. And yellow
We tried this one.
are opposed. I encourage you all to go on.
It's got, it's showing that it's coming through.
We are also an ELG Early Literacy Grant. Two big ahas that comes out of that are using PDFA. It's just Plan, Do, Study, Act. PDFA just uses data at the item level to prescribe or design interventions. And then we use well, that's our focus folder. Then we use our PDFA to analyze every day how the intervention is working. We even record whether the child is present that day, because every little thing determines why. We want to know why. Is it because we need that? We need to make sure we're on that attendance. So they're practical things, but it's really focusing on the individual student. So again, you're just planning, using your data to plan what the kids need. Each one of those sections in that folder is a different level of student. And this is for intervention, because we do not have all of our kids in reading. We do not level that part. And then just the read plans, the number of read plans decreasing over the years, which is great. Our watch list down here on the bottom, we do have a list based on our students' needs. We post them, each classroom has them, and we have volunteers and we have teachers who sign up to go listen to kids read, who need the extra opportunity to read, do sight work, whatever the student needs. The teacher has a very planned out basket, and teachers and volunteers have signed up for their time, and we definitely have seen that make a difference with the kids too. As we identify the kids and we see their score increase, they're having more time to read. So just giving those kids those opportunities. We can't always control outside factors, but we want every minute that we can. So we're also a school of promise. So we have a math focus. We target the unsatisfactory and the low partial proficient students using the Scholastic Do the Math. And it is number sense, computation, very intense intervention groups. We have noticed definitely with the kids that have been in this their third year, their computation skills have definitely increased. We do invite all of our School of Promise kids back for interim sessions, so they receive that extra 2 week half day during the interim session to practice those skills. Like I said, we've seen an increase in computation, but of course we have obviously identified the problem solving was the need. The students can do the computation, but they can't solve the word problems and multi-step. So we did incorporate the Engage Me work at the beginning of this year with grades 3 through 5. We definitely have seen a difference with that, so we're excited that we're moving forward as a district using your reset. Our interim sessions are during the 3 week break. One of the weeks everybody's off, and 2 weeks we bring students back, and we target those very, very low students as well as high students and even the bubble students. So we're pretty strategic on who we bring back. We focus during that time on reading, writing, math emphasis. We pre-teach things that data showed us that we will pre-teaching rather what we're going to teach in the next quarter, and then we do a lot of re-teaching. We also have enrichment focus on STEM and in art and music. We also make sure that, for example, the art teacher brought second graders back and did Picasso, but they also had to do research, and they also painted their own, I guess you would say, their own rendition of their Starry Night. But all of this still has to reflect writing, reading, all that still has to be in the enrichment as well. In the fall, we had 107 to attend our interim, 95 in our winter, and then we just had an interim session and we had 90 students. So at least approximately half of our school is returning for interim session. Here is just a highlight of the programs, just, some great things that we try to offer. We have, quite a few VIP on our list, but boy, do we have about 4 or so that are just fantastic. They do the work of 30. Our band teacher has been really great. She's gotten donations and so on, so we do have a band. We offer Richmond Art Club, and you can see the list. One of the things that we were finding that we had was a lot of discipline problems. We took some boys a few years ago, got permission, and through Widefield, we took some of our challenging students and we formed a basketball team for the Widefield Rec Center. And they became our leaders, and they have to get grade checks, they have to have behavior, the whole 9. And it has just been a tremendous value to our school. Discipline has gone down, everyone wants to be on the 4-5 basketball team, and we've done the same with girls. Teachers pay for that, we donate, and we have enough money to pay for them and their snacks. And it is just wonderful. And one of the things, once a week, they have a tutoring session, and they have to read and write about the fundamentals of basketball. They have film, they watch film, they have to write about what kind of discipline, defense or offense might be going on. So we are trying to put academics in everything. But it is great to see on Saturday, the parents, the teachers, and the kids out there, in the life, this activity. So lots of great activities. And then these are some partnerships. And so we're going to dig into some of these to be on our school accountability. We'll see who will help us out. This year we were a cohort for UCCS student teachers, Stratmore Hills Neighborhood Association. A lot of their students are grown and gone, but we want to keep that community. In case that's a pass a bond issue, I want them a part of our community as well. The fire department, we are the only D2 school in the county, so we're very fortunate to be partners with the sheriff's department. They're always out and about looking in on us, checking in. We have them in the cafeteria, just greeting kids. So King Supers, Shining Mountain King Supers, and the packing. Just, it may not be a lot. Sometimes you don't need a whole lot, but you need a whole lot of support, and that's what these people give us. Next step, as you saw that we have a very big mobility rate, what we are trying to do is figure out how we can get these new children coming into our school, get them triaged, and figure out what to do with these students who are landing for the first time in our D2 school. And what we're finding, the majority of our children are coming from out of state in South DLS. So we're not even getting your students who have some of those strategies. We are having to backpedal. And we're trying to find creative ways to close the gap. How can we get that 3rd grader who has only been in our school a few months but has to take part? How can we get that kid up to par? And that is, just imagine, that's 17 kids on an average coming new into a grade level. We know the kids we keep making. We're so proud. A lot of our staff just got requests for letters. We had 5 or 6 singers at Fox Meadow being recommended for National Junior Honor Society. It gives us pleasure to write those letters, but we're proud of those, and of those kids, 3 of them were with us from kindergarten. So we know when we keep kids in Harrison, we grow those kids. We're definitely going to keep that race strategy going throughout. It was a great find. We did get it in training, but through our instructional rounds, it was brought back to our attention. So it has just really helped our writing, and then technology. We are being pretty strategic at our school, implementing a variety of technology strategies. We're adopting strategies for writing. It is a great program because it allows flexibility for us to increase some of the rigor ourselves. We can add on without really taking away from the fidelity of that writing. Our teachers know how to teach writing, but we're teaching it in too many different ways. And kids need a structured framework, and that's what we're hoping to get from strategies from writing. Math, we're working with Eureka, doing a lot of multi-step practice, and we're going to continue to connect Dr. Spencer with School of Promise through the math. And we're really beefing up their reading informational text, increasing time in text, which is what the Watch kids are doing, and just sustaining the early literacy grant. Some of those strategies that really work for Stratmore Hills. So that's us in a nutshell, and are there any questions?
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all coming to bring us to your students, to your parents, although I can understand it there at this point. So, thank you so much for coming. How often do the teachers and volunteers
Yeah. It's daily. We have a few VIPs that are just wonderful that come in daily. And then we have staff on their plan periods. What we did is to make it more structured. We had teachers give us their available time and Shelley developed a schedule. So you know when to go when you're not pulling them out of a really important course. And it's only 5 or so minutes and they're reading at grade level, but it is daily. And then we were very, very fortunate to have a former retired principal from back east to come in, and she is just very relentless at coming in, helping us out. Very dependable. Except for snow days, she came from North Carolina.
any other questions?
Here's just a comment. I'm really surprised. I had no idea that mobility rate of attending a school. Surprising.
So we were thinking, Shelley and I were just talking, and, you know, we were looking at, we try and find like schools, but a lot of those schools, the kids, it's generational, like in the project, they stay. So we were saying, maybe we look at school districts that have migrant work, that we need, I mean, poverty has different pictures, it's just different types. And so what we need to see, what are schools doing, not with similar socioeconomic, but mobility. That's what we need to find.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Are most of the students, when they attend Stratmore, are they in the neighborhood, or do you have a sense of whether, because with the different calendar, I know you're drawing families from potentially different parts of the district.
Just a few. Our children are mostly neighborhood. Our neighborhood, and it's just that they just move on. And sometimes it's not because of better, it's just life happens. Okay.
This is mostly multifamily right there in the area.
It is. Yeah.
And I think that's affordable housing is a conversation that we're having in the community on a lot of different levels. And it's good to know that I was kind of, make sure that we got the slides moving into our, so that I can go and share those with whoever we need to share with, because most of the affordable housing is, I don't think when we have conversations that we think about affordable housing, that we think about this element, right? I don't think a lot of people think about this.
One of the consequences of not having adequate family housing to keep students' lives stable over the long term so that they can excel.
And that's it, it's adequate, because it's just, years back, we even hunted down the landlords, which many of them live out of state, because I was going to see what we could do to even encourage them to give those houses some facelifts, because we have a beautiful neighborhood, but many of my kids come from over. So I encourage you all to, it's very, and it's not just mine. They're Sherry's kids as well. They're also John's kids.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's food for thought. Thank you so much. I guess my only question was just relating to the year-on schedule. Is it everything's going well with it? I mean, it was kind of a winger when we, it's a risk, in terms of thinking whether that's going to go over well with families. And it sounds like it's been doing really well.
So far, it really has. We have not seen this phenomenal growth, but what we have seen is when kids come back, because we've had those interim sessions, we are not reteaching, pre-teaching. We had the highest percentage of benchmark when they came back in July this year than we've ever had. So that let us know, definitely, as the research showed that was conducted when we had the proposal that the summer slump. So we see the benefits, and parents are starting to like it. I mean, there's a few.
You know, there's always a few, but we always discuss benefits. We just keep it moving.
Focus on the positive. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job. So moving on to our next item, communicating with the public, we have one of our best and longest partners here. We have Mr. Sullivan, James Sullivan, Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club of the Pikes Peak region, here to talk to us about our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you for coming tonight. Welcome. Unfortunately, we're recording the meeting, so it's important to get it on.
I think I'm on. Thank you.
Thanks,
I wanted
Ella.
to say to Principal Robinson, that's a very powerful presentation. I think we have the opportunity to have to follow it. So it's very nice. I'm very excited to be here. I want to thank Chair Gonzalez, Dr. Spencer, for the opportunity to work with the school board. Be here to tell you about what I think is one of our strongest partnerships. Also, so I appreciate your sentiments. It's just cool to be here. So I'll start a little bit here and any questions. I'm kind of a person who can stop and ask questions when you're ready. So without training, I'll try this and see if this works.
Oh, maybe not. AV is such a.
All right, my technical glitches are over.
Maybe not.
First, I'd like to highlight the mission statement that our organization has. You can see it's fairly close to yours, very similar, which makes it a perfect partnership. Our goal here is to empower every one of our club members through safe and impactful experiences to graduate high school, to plan for college or career, and contribute to their community and a healthy lifestyle. And I really like that mission statement, mainly because it's very simple. You can all understand it. And most importantly, we communicate to the young people that we're just here trying to help you find that pathway to improving your life. It's very admirable for what District 2 is doing. This partnership has been in place for 32 years. So when you talk about that's kind of baby for us as an organization. We're getting ready to celebrate our 129th year of operations here in Colorado Springs. We are I like to brag and say we're the 8th oldest club in the country out of 4,400 boys and girls clubs.
Say that again, 129?
129. Wow. No, I've not been there all that time. But sometimes it feels like that, but not today. Our programs, we have 5 core areas that we work in. Character and leadership, our sports programs, which is what most of us know us for. Technology, which I'd like to thank Dr. Spencer, District 2, for a very generous donation of 22 laptops, which are helping kids in District 2 after school in our computer lab. Our educational programs, our health and life skill programs, and most importantly, the arts. The arts are very successful because that's what the staff and the kids really like to do. I'm not an arts person, but I really like that program. We work with young people between the ages of 5 years old and 18 years old. We have 2 programs that we actually have here in District 2. One is our traditional Boys and Girls Club. We actually have 2 of these freestanding facilities. They are about the size of a school. In this case, the EA Tut Club, which is located on Sheldon. That club is about 32 32,000 square feet. And our other pub is on the west side. For 32 years, we've been offering these after-school programs, and what's important, everything I'm going to talk about today is at $1 a day for the young people that participate at the pub. So we don't want cost to be an issue where a family or a young person wants to be a member of the club is not able to participate. Here we operate at Sierra High School, Centennial, Monterey, Carmel, Atlas Prep, and Mount Vista. Then we have a second program called our Kids Club, which is certified childcare, which is a unique partnership. It's probably our second strongest partnership within our organization, which is actually the Department of Defense Army. We are one of 10 clubs nationwide that has the opportunity to provide childcare / certified childcare, not certified, but accredited childcare via the Army, and military families are able to enjoy the same rates at one of your elementary schools that they get if they take their children on post. 70% of young people that are in the military or military families live off installation. So the military seeked out our organization about 8 years ago for us to have that consistency no matter what installation you go to, whether you're on installation or off installation. So what I mean by achieving that same cost ratio, if you have a young person, elementary school, 3rd grade, 4th grade, whatever the case happens to be, if you take your child on installation, it may cost you $40 a week for child care. What I'm saying is based on your income and sliding scale, the military subsidized that cost for us, so it's no additional cost. We also, in this particular case, have the advantage of going to the county and did CCAP, so families that are disadvantaged can still get some kind of a sliding scale discount. So it's really been a really good benefit. It's certainly one of the stronger programs in the country. The Army comes out 3 times a year, and does what's called technical advice visits, TAV visits, and they give us ratings. I was going to say fitness ratings, like or reviews, whatever you want to call it. We rank always in a 90 percentile, and I'm very proud of that fact. So we feel we have a pretty good impact on a daily basis. To my last point here on the slide, we impact over 280 kids a day, 300 kids a day, depending upon what time of year it is. We are affected like most schools when it comes to social activities, attracting teens, the transient stuff, environment that we operate in. I like to talk about some of the cool things that we do here in District 2, which is a lot like trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish during the daytime. With the young people. We do a lot of STEM-focused activities. This is within our Boys and Girls Club structure, as well as in our child. Many moons ago. A birthday coming up here, and I just realized I have a birthday next week. I didn't know it, but getting old sucks. There's a thing called Brick Labs. For those who've heard these things called Brick Labs. When I was a kid, you called them Legos, but now it's called a Brick Lab. It's very fascinating, but it's really a critical part of the STEM and math and science aspects. And our young people really like it. They go and they build bridges, they build houses, they build structure, and they learn all the things that we should learn while we're in our math things. We also have, along with that, it's complemented with actual robotics, where the young people are actually making robots, they're making cars, they have brains that can program them and learn all the different mechanics. The cool part about it is all age appropriate. We have 3 of these units, which are about $10,000 each, that travel around to all of our locations. We have a person on staff that is actually a Navy nuclear physicist engineer that actually runs this program for us. So we bring a lot of expertise to this particular deal. Now, I'm not a very politically correct person. I still call it Thanksgiving and Christmas, but in this particular case, we have a big dinner at our EA Tech Club once a year. That hosts all the District 2 kids that we have, and it's about 300 or so. During that dinner, it's a complete total feast. Our gymnasium is completely full. The cool part is we have a partnership with Comcast, who provides 5 free computers at least to the participants. It's a very nice event. We're very proud of that. But we also do things for the parents along with the young people. Clearly, technology is an issue that we all have to concern ourselves with, particularly in our case, internet safety and predators. It's a big national initiative for us to focus on child safety along with technology. Here we have programs Net Smarts, which actually is designed for the parents to come in and shows them how to help protect their young people from internet predators themselves. Simple things have the computer at the kitchen table or where you have a line of sight. Little simple things like that that may not just be anecdotal, but they're very helpful in helping parents navigate technology. This is a program here, our Social Action Project. So it's a state-funded program. This is actually a partnership we have with the State Attorney General. This one is around safety, obviously. It is funded through a lot of the marijuana sales and other crimes where people do restitution. It's a fund that the Attorney General has statewide. One of the key parts of this one is that there's a social action project, and here our teams decided in our particular location, Colorado Springs, was to work on an anti-no bullying environment. One of the things that they did here was our teams are tasked with during the school day, setting up a time frame to go meet with counselors at their respective schools, in this case District 2, and they bring back that information and they're designed a anti-bullying project. And going to the third piece of this is to actually go back and they report to their administrators what is a collective group they think would make a good anti-bullying environment. One of the other things, a partnership we have with Allstate. One of the cool things about this partnership, not just we partner with school district, Harrison School District 2, we partner with all the partners we work with that flows into the school district. In this case, Don't Text and Drive is a partnership we have with Allstate Foundation. That really manifests itself throughout the year. But one of the key parts of this is on St. Patrick's Day, our kids designed a program called Don't Text and Drive. I think the acronym is LID, Later I'm Driving. We're actually trying to get that patented. So it's they collect over 1,500 names and thumbprints on St. Patrick's Day of people taking the pledge and not to text and drive. There is a business part to our organization, and the stuff that, unlike Principal Robinson, I didn't have the level of detail, but I don't want to do that. But this particular case, we are one of the best. We just had a report from our national office at our board meeting on Tuesday that brought out some very interesting numbers. That's a whole oversized report, but I just captured a couple of things, 3 questions. What we do is we survey all of our young people, the members in our clubs, annually, nationwide, and then we kind of see how we're pacing. So we have some strategic objectives, reports that we're trying to accomplish as an organization nationwide. See right here it says, how do we rank nationally? Our members are abstaining from risky behaviors. And here's 4 questions that are asked. Where you see where it says club, that would be Boys and Girls Club of Colorado Springs, and how we're ranking against all the other kids in this oversized pool nationwide. So abstaining from drinking, for example. Here we rank at 100%. The kids that are in our program say they are not drinking versus the national average of 65%. I'm perplexed with abstaining from marijuana. Quite frankly, that one, 50% of our clubs, I know that's being in Colorado, but the nationwide statistic is 77%. But we're very proud. These are some pretty good numbers as we rank across the country. And it's nice to have that endorsement from the national office to ask, what are we doing with our young people? And I just attribute that to our staff. They're very good at what they do. Second question I pulled from this study was, our members on track for academic success, which I thought would be applicable for tonight's presentation in particular. There you see on track for graduation, we're just a little bit below the national average. We don't necessarily control that, but what it does say, we've got to get to our communication with young people, particularly when I know it's your mission, that they're hearing it not just in the school building, but they're hearing it from us too. So we'll have to do a little research on why we're not tracking higher than that, because that's the number I'd like to see, 100%, quite frankly. The issue about self-reporting their grades, mostly A's and B's, we do the simple things that a lot of kids will say that, nobody asks about the report card, or it's not a big a deal. We do make a big deal of the report card. We ask them to bring it in or report their grades to us, and then they have a little party around it. Kind of a day drives the staff a little crazy, because then we have some sweets and things that they like to eat, and they get a little bit amped, but I think it's fairly cool. You'll see the rest of our numbers either at or above the national average. Expectation of high school graduation is second from the bottom at 95%. I think that's a number we can all applaud ourselves for in the room, because I used to perceive that a lot of the success we're having with our young people is coming because they're coming straight from your schools. So it's very successful. I'm very happy about that. Here's just some pictures of us, kind of having fun doing different things. I would like to publicly acknowledge Dr. Spencer for always answering the phone and being helpful to our organization wherever we need help. He serves on our board of directors, a very critical role that he helps us with in terms of educational programs, just his overall leadership. I certainly want to thank the board here, as I've watched this process take place over the last several years. And this is very powerful, and I'm happy that our organization has the opportunity to participate and partner with School District 2. So, answer any questions you may have. I thank you for the time today to be able to come out and talk about what we're doing together.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. It's a pleasure to have you and to hear about your programs. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Sullivan?
I have one. I always,
Of course.
one question about inclement weather. How do you handle that when there's if school closure? Is your organization closed as well?
Yeah, we do. We actually take our lead from the school districts. So school district 2 or district 11 or district 8 or district 3, whenever the school district closed, our club, our staff's closed also. And we kind of did some research around the country on that particular one. We've had some conversations about if the school will stay open, could we do that? But we figured if the school's not open, candidly, I don't want to put my staff at the same risk. That's really the driving decision. I get more pushback from my staff about that than there's insurance issues to concern ourselves with. But
Yeah.
that's a great question.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I have just a couple. I'm curious. You know, I see 282 members per day, which is a great number. I know my kids have gone over to the Tut Center over there. What are but I know for sure that there are more students in the community that could take advantage of your programs. What are the limitations to the growth of your programs? Do you have like a plan to expand, or are you kind of? I mean, I know as a nonprofit, it's risky to kind of step out there and try to. Yeah, it's challenging. Are you kind of at your sweet spot in terms of the level of enrollment, or are you looking to try to expand? And then by implication, what could we do to help with that?
There's actually several answers to that question, several layers to it. Our overall membership across El Paso County is over 3,500 kids. I'm talking specifically to School District 2 here. So when I say 282 to 300 kids a day, we have a matrix called ADA, average daily attendance.
Got it.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that every single one of those kids are coming every day.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we are doing with the matrix for us is to look at how often the kids come. For us, that matrix needs to be 2 to 3 times a week for us to make an impact, so that the numbers of data I showed you are, somewhat statistically valid. But the fact is, we do have some parents who have a need for our club once a week. We have seasonal kind of kids where kids will, let's say they play football, or a girl plays basketball or volleyball, the case happens to be. They're not at the club during that time frame. So throughout the year, if you sit there and say, well, how many kids actually come to the club throughout the year, it's really about 3,500.
Okay.
I'll apologize not having that exact number for how many kids are signed up from District 2. But that number, if I was to gander to guess, I'd probably say 1,200 to 1,000, 1,200 kids will actually flow through our doors at some point in time. But our matrices, they have to meet that delta of at least 2 to 3 times a week for us to count in our ADA, what's called our ADA. As far as helping growth, our issue is transportation, and District 2 has been very good about helping open up school districts. We've gotten several cases, feeder schools where we don't have enough impact for enough kids for us to actually open up a site. But our goal would like to be to have every single one of your elementary schools have one of our Kids Club 360 sites. Very helpful to parents to know they can drop their kid off as early as 5:30 in the morning and come back and pick their kid up at 6. And they don't have to go out in any inclement weather. It's just one drop, particularly for military families who have physical PT, physical training. So it's really beneficial to us, but it has to be enough density, and it has to be obviously the economics before you open a bus route. But the school district has been very helpful in that arena, quite frankly. So as we get a need, we certainly have no problem picking up the phone and calling Dr. Spencer and say we have an opportunity. And the answer is always yes, is what I would say.
Good. Yes. How many kids does it take it to make a location at an elementary school viable?
I'm working on a delta of about 12%. So if we have 300 kids, we're probably going to look at about 35 to 40 kids.
Okay.
The reason why is because one of the things I talked about that's really kind of a highlight. I talked about accreditation. You're a very rare school district in the state of Colorado. There are only 2 child cares that fit between the age of school age, 5 to 12 years old, in Colorado that are accredited. That's not the same with the certification. Accredited is a nationwide certification, just like the schools have to get accredited, school districts have to get accredited, or college. And it's overseen by an organization called COLA. I think you have come to pass and given out the certificates that probably means because it's a 3-year license that you get. So for us, you have an issue of the ratio. 1 to 12 is the accreditation ratio-wise.
Got it.
Regular state license is 1 to 15. So we have kind of a sweet spot, you would say, in terms of we have 2 staff plus. So let's say we have 24 kids. on a 1 to 12, we would actually have 3 staff there.
Yeah.
Because if something happens, we need to have to factor that safety issue
Yeah.
of one person not being on the floor at that time.
Got it. Great.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, our next item is public comment. And we have Mr. Sullivan signed up on public comment. He's already commented, unless you have anything additional you'd like to add. So, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over them. I'm so sorry. That's such an important thing. We have, before we move on to public comment, we have Susan Burt and Brenda Cornelius here from Educating Children of Color. Thank you so much for coming. I'm sorry, I got all excited about Mr. Sullivan's presentation. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You can probably put it in the holder if you. There you go. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Susan Burt, and I'm a social worker for the Health Advocate. But I'm also a member of the planning committee for the Educating Children of Color Summit. I'm also a proud parent of 2 beautiful young women. My daughters both have special education needs, both diagnosed with dyslexia very young. Lots of challenges through school with parents and extra accommodations. Neither one of them planned to go on to college, which was unacceptable to me. I dragged them both to the summit. The first time my older daughter went to the summit, she said, "I'm only coming because I want a laptop." But she was so inspired by the speakers there. By the end of the summit, she said, "I want a scholarship." She won a scholarship that year. She's applied for and received 2 more. And I can tell you right now that both of my daughters are in college. My older daughter is studying to university. My younger daughter's at Athens State University studying both disciplines. We want to appreciate all the support that district, school district person has given to the summit and to the Educating Children of Color. And just for anyone who's not aware of the organization, it was conceived in 2007 as a subcommittee of the 4th Judicial District Minority Overrepresentation Committee. Judge Regina Walter, who was our fearless leader, began this mission looking at her own statistics in her own classroom and realizing there was disparate treatment of children of color in the way they were treated in the court system. This first summit was in 2008, and the mission of the organization is to dismantle the cradle-to-prison pipeline for children of color and children in poverty through education. In 2014, Educating Children of Color Incorporated became its own 501c organization. Tonight, we would like to appreciate and recognize those who to achieve this summit. Superintendent Dr. Congress Spencer, we're so grateful for everything you do for the event. And students, parents, teachers, and the staff of the school district. And Board President Gonzalez, you and the members of the board, thank you for your continuing support for the Educating Children of Color. And we have some individuals we'd like to recognize, and if you could step forward, because we do have a gift we'd like to give to you. Principal Sherry Martinez. Principal Aaron Griffin. And Principal Arcelius Wilkins. We are most grateful for the support and promotion that you have afforded the summer in the 9 years that it has occurred. Without the support of the school administrators, teachers, students, and parents like myself would not have the opportunity to benefit from the rich programs and speakers offered each year by the summit. We'd also like to recognize several other people who have been key in helping us, which is Miss Allie Duran, Miss Michelle Smith of Harrison High School are here. Both counselors that have helped with extensive work to getting students organized and signed up for the event every year. And also Mr. Max Sargent is here. would like to recognize all of them. We want to give a special recognition to someone who for many years has supported and given us a lot of support and volunteer time, Mr. Woody Longmire. Your dedication and resources have been invaluable to the planning committee, and we're very grateful for your time and all of your talents. And just so everyone can see, I don't know, but what we presented is this year we had more than 700 students at the conference, 300 educators, and a multitude of volunteers and parents on campus at Colorado College on January 16, 2016. In addition, we had in excess 90 speakers and 30 action planners to help people plan for the future. To date, we have awarded in excess of $100,000 in scholarships and educational gifts for higher education and given 124 laptops to students in attendance. Your scholarship and laptop student winners this year were Jacob Hyatt at Sierra High School. He won a $500 educational gift. Yasmin Bell, Sierra High School, won a laptop computer. Bernadette Sarah, I'm saying her name right. Harrison High School, laptop computer. Milana Polaro, Sierra High School, laptop computer winner. And Christine Story Jacobs, Harrison High School, laptop computer. Yay!
Good evening. I'm Belinda Cornelius, Pikes Peak Community College Recruitment and Admissions Specialist, and also Educating Children of Color Volunteer Coordinator. We have started planning for the 10th annual Educating Children of Color Summit to be held on January 14th, 2017 at the Colorado College. If you would like to participate in the planning, we would welcome your expertise. We meet the first and third Wednesday of the month at the downtown YMCA at 7:30 a.m. Finally, the Diversity University will take place July 25th through the 29th at the Regis University, located at 7450 Campus Drive, number 100 in Colorado Springs. There's no cost to attend. It does require a full week commitment, and they will also be eligible for 1 credit graduate credit through Adams State University. We want to ask that you please promote it within the district, and we want to thank you again for your generosity and support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both so much for coming. It's a fantastic event. I couldn't make it this year, but I heard a lot of good reports about the programs and how rewarding it is for students to participate. So thank you very much for doing what you do. And we look forward to seeing it in our community for many years to come. And we have the date on our calendars now. What was it? It's January 14th. Got it. January 14th. Okay. So back to public comment. We have no one signed up for public comment. So we'll move on to board development. Item 6.1, completion of our superintendent evaluation after an onerous process of evaluating our superintendent. No, not really at all. We went through the board went through a process of evaluating Dr. Spencer on his performance this past year, and I have distributed his evaluation. Obviously, it's not part of the public packet, but I've distributed the evaluation to board members, and so we just need to vote on approval of that. Is there any discussion before we move on? No, I'd entertain a motion to approve the evaluation.
I move to approve the evaluation as
Presented.
presented, yes.
Motion by Mrs. Longmire, second.
Aye.
Second by Ms. Torres. Any discussion? No. Any opposed? I'm sorry, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Congratulations, and thank you very much for all of your hard work. I have had a number of experiences over the last couple of weeks where people in a wide variety of different places in the community have come up to me and said how impressed they were with the work that you've done here in our community and specifically in our district over the last few years. So we're very proud. So thank you very much. And we hope for a long and fruitful relationship. So we will move on to item 7.1, our annual work plan. Have you all had an opportunity to? Isn't this usually on consent? Because we don't need to. This is just a report item. We don't need to approve it. Okay. So if there's any changes are there any changes that you want to talk about?
One thing I had was for January for the board meeting.
Yeah.
This says the 12th, but my notes said we switched it to the 19th.
Ella, could you take a look at that? And for January 17th, we're already looking at January 17th.
It's on the work plan. I know.
17th, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So they either the 12th or the 19th. And then also we can now add, since it goes to January, we can now add the conference, the summit, on January 14th. Yes. 27th. Anything else? Okay, we have postponed item 7.2 to our next meeting. So moving on to legislative updates, we have 20 days left in the current legislative session. How much damage can they do in the next 20 days?
No.
We had a meeting, we have had some discussions relating to some bills having to do with charter school funding, and I know there are lots of conversations about the hospital provider fee out there that has not, it was postponed again today. So the outlook is not really great for school funding at the state level. Do you want to maybe add anything more about what we're looking at the legislature over the next few weeks? Is there anything? Yeah, if you want to talk about it, that might, not be a bad idea.
Okay. The charter school bill that's being proposed is a bill that's really looking at school district, being a legislation that's looking at school districts sharing mill levy dollars with charter schools, regardless if the students in the charter schools live in the district or not. So what is happening, or what is being proposed at this particular point, is that we as a district, right now, we do not share any of those funds, and the mill levy funds come from the tax revenue locally. We do not share any of those funds with our charter schools. That was the agreement that was made via the Board of Education and charter schools. However, if this legislation passes, then the Board of Education will have to share mill levy dollars, local dollars, with our 4 charter schools in our district for every single student that attends the charter school. And at this particular point, we're looking at somewhere in between the $2 million mark. But we'll see how that pans out in the legislation as it goes forward. It's something that we have opposed as a district. It's also something that other school districts have also opposed. Many charter schools are also opposing this legislation. just by the nature of the local districts have formed the relationships with charter schools, and they have come to the agreements with charter schools. So the thought is that local districts should make that decision when they are making those agreements with local charter schools. However, some of our legislators on that, so we will see how far that goes.
Thank you. That's a much more cogent explanation than I would have been able to give. And then the other issue that is relevant and that I'm a little bit concerned about is that there's a bill relating to medical marijuana for students that would currently the state law allows school districts to develop policies for students who are prescribed medical marijuana for conditions that they have to take that medical marijuana on school property. There are no school districts in Colorado that have exercised their authority under state law to do so. I'll say that again. Out of 178 some odd school districts, none of them have taken up that option for a lot of reasons, and most of them having to do with student safety. And the current bill that is in the legislature would require school districts to develop policies to allow students under certain circumstances to consume medical marijuana on school grounds. It concerns me tremendously. I'm certainly sensitive to the needs of patients and students who, the proponents say that there are some students who the only way that they can attend school because of their disability or illness is to consume medical marijuana during the school day. I feel like there's got to be another solution for that small number of students other than requiring school districts to go down this road. It's a continuing conversation, and I know many of you probably have strong feelings about it as well. So that is something else that's out there that we're keeping an eye on. But that's about it for now. Any questions or comments or concerns about things that you've heard in the media?
Well, with that, in regards to the medical marijuana in schools, aren't they requiring with their request or proposal that school nurses give that to the student if that's something that does pass?
The last thing I heard, and obviously it's pretty controversial and the bill has been amended a number of times along the way, the last thing I heard is that no, they would not require school personnel to administer it, but they also would not allow students to self-administer, that a caregiver for that student would have to come onto campus and administer it. So that addresses the concern of students having possession of their own medication. It also addresses the concerns about school staff administering it. But I don't believe it addresses all of the concerns that we have about student safety.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? So we'll move on to 8.1, the superintendent consent agenda, which contains both the personnel report and the financial statement. Have you all had an opportunity to review both of those?
Yes.
Questions for staff? So I would entertain a motion on the superintendent's consent agenda.
I move to approve the superintendent consent agenda as stated.
I second it.
Moved by Mr. Siebert and seconded by Mrs. Longmire. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. So moving on to item 9, the board consent agenda, which contains the minutes from March 1st and March 17th of 2016. And then we are going to hear some discussion on our results reports, right? Yep. Okay. So do you want to approve those and then go back and do a presentation after this? Why don't we go ahead and do the vote? Or how do you want to handle that? Do you want to hear the presentation on 9.3 first?
Either way, we could go on it.
Okay. Why don't we do that? Just get that over with. So have you all had an opportunity to review the minutes from those two meetings and the OE monitoring reports that we discussed at our last work session as well as the results reports that we have received today.
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions or comments that
Yes.
weren't addressed at the work session? Ms. Longline?
Yep. This is where I was seeing the.
There you go.
Yeah. I was ahead of myself.
Yep. Is it on
It
page?
is on under.
Very beginning.
Yeah, very beginning.
Oh, it's on the minutes
On the minutes
of which date?
for the
March
March 1st. Yes. And
I don't have them up.
really,
There's the word third somewhere in there that's
I
misspelled.
know it is. I just can't find it right now. Of course.
Hold on, let me pull it up. Did you?
I went over all my notes with Ella. Figured out.
Did you?
Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
Well, why don't we do this? Can you guys take a look? Take a look at those and see if you can locate the typo that Doreen had noted. Because as soon as we've moved on past this item, she will find it.
Of course I will.
Okay, with that
Yes, there it is.
with that change noted, I would entertain a motion relating to the board consent agenda.
I move to approve the board consent agenda as stated.
Mr. Siebert moves. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Longmire seconds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we will move on to hear Dr. Spencer's discussion of our board results. And let me just talk a little, this is a little bit of a departure of our normal process, but in discussing, we have a policy governance model, and we govern the district in a way that relies on outcomes. So as long as we can measure the outcomes of what we're dealing with, that we leave the rest of it up to the professionals, you all here in the audience. And we've received some results reports relating to, we've got them here, reading, math, social studies, AP writing, and graduation rate. And they were a topic of a lot of discussion at a work session, and we felt it was important, Mr. Siebert in particular felt it was important for our community to hear these and kind of get a sense of where we're going as a district. We're very pleased and very optimistic about future direction, but we've asked Dr. Spencer to make a brief presentation.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. And the updates on this component is, like Madam President shared, that our results are directly connected to our board policy. And each year we review or do a cycle of review of all of the policies for the data that we have, which connects or aligns directly to our board policy. You guys may not necessarily see the report because the report is a district-wide overview of how we're performing district according to our district, but you do see your particular data points, which are included in the composite or the overall composite that's outlined here. On our reading results report, we had exceeding by 6%, third grade exceeded the target that was set or outlined. How our kindergarten through grade 2 on the CBMs for reading exceeded the target for kindergarten through grade 2 by 8%. However, 9th through 11th grade did not meet the target for reading that was set. Because of that, for our overall reporting, we have a not making adequate progress, and that's a marking that has been identified because when we look at the performance overall, all of our areas, all of our targets have not been met. If you take a look at mathematics for third grade exceeded the target for mathematics by 13%. On AP exams, when we took a look at all of the mathematics AP scores for AP exams, that was exceeded. The target was exceeded by 0.3%. The K through 2 for mathematics target was exceeded by 10%. However, for 9 through 11, for the assessments, did not achieve or meet the target. So for the overall rating, that overall rating is recorded as making reasonable progress with noted exceptions. For writing, third grade exceeded the target by 9%. For 10th grade exceeded the target that was established by 7%. 5th, 8th, 9th, and 11th grade did not meet the target that was outlined. So that particular report is noted or recorded as not making adequate progress. Social studies did not meet the target for 10th through 12th grade. The target that was established, that report 2, is recorded as not making adequate progress. For science for 3rd grade on the assessment exceeded the target by 19%. 9 through 12th grade did not meet the target. That overall report is also recorded as not making adequate progress. For graduation rate, dropout rate, the graduation rate exceeded the target by 3.2%, and the dropout rate exceeded the target by having a decline of 0.2%. And that overall report rating or marking is noted as making reasonable progress.
Ta-da! There you go. Boil down into a quick summary. Mr. Siebert, do you have any other kind of questions or comments? I've got a few things that I want to kind of underline for the audience.
Not any one thing specific.
Okay. I just wanted to say, since this is a departure from how we've done things in the past, I wanted to underline that these, this is, I don't know if it's clear just how unusual this is for a school district and a board in particular and an administrative group to have these kinds of very clear goals for performance. They are very ambitious. This board has very high expectations and very high standards. You all work very, very hard to achieve them. These reports are what guide us in decisions around allocating resources and the expectations that we place on the superintendent, which he then passes on to you all because it rolls downhill. Isn't that how it goes? So we wanted you all to understand that this is what these kinds of reports and these kinds of results, examinations of the district's results, are what we focus on in our board interactions. Even though those interactions don't necessarily happen here at regular meetings, we try to spare you all the gory, detailed discussions of a lot of these things. And we do most of that work in work session. We spend a lot of time on them, as do all of the staff in terms of preparing this material. So I just wanted to say how much I appreciate the time that you put into it. And we look forward to being able to exceed the goals that we've set for ourselves in the future. We're moving in the right direction and we've made tremendous progress. But we've got really high expectations, and I think that that's an important thing to underline.
And to further explain these, this is the first year that we've looked at those reports in this format. So we don't have any linear data to say this is the third year or anything comparative. So this is a snapshot of that first step.
So we look forward to being able to do it again next year and
have
talk
some
about progress.
movement. So this is a snapshot, not a.
Yeah. It's important for us to let the community know what is going on in the district in terms of, when the rubber hits the road, what's going on. What is all of the tax money that we collect and distribute and use for students. What is it going for? And I think this demonstrates that we're doing good work. Thank you all. You're doing good work. We're just sitting here at a dais. You guys are all doing the good work, so we really appreciate it. And thank you, Dr. Spencer, for spending the time with me. I appreciate it. Wow. We're done. I think we're done. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add before we adjourn? Nope. That's the end of our agenda. We're adjourned. Thank you all.